name's Chris Weidman. I fight in the UFC. I started mixed martial arts in 2009. That was my first professional fight. Since high school, I've had issues with my lateral meniscuses. They would kind of click into my joint and it would lock out my knee. And I learned how to deal with it and work around it and make sure it doesn't happen. But every so often, my knee would get locked out. What actually made me decide to get the surgery was I was in a fight and my meniscus actually popped into the joint and locked my knee out during the fight. I was able to fight through it and actually it somehow clicked back into place. For a moment there, I almost turned over and just tapped out and gave up. Afterwards, I'm like, this is serious. I gotta get this stuff taken care of so it doesn't happen in another fight. I was lucky enough to meet Dr. Answorth Allen, who's the doctor for the Knicks. That's kind of why I went to him originally, because he's already been dealing with these top athletes. But it went so much further than that when I finally met him. His demeanor and his personality is really what sold me. This guy was there for me to make sure I was going to be able to perform at my best.
I really like Chris's story. He went to school locally, was a phenomenal wrestler, and the fact that he chose a career as a professional fighter is something I have a lot of respect for. Typical UFC athletes, these are some of the most amazing athletes in the world, and I've seen the whole spectrum of athletes across the board. When one goes in the octagon, clearly you have to be in the best physical condition possible. Whenever there's any cutting, pivoting, torquing on the joints, there's always a potential risk for injuring the meniscus. Initially, we managed Chris conservatively with the rehabilitation program, but at some point, he knew his body. He knew that it was time to do something more definitive.
There's nothing like getting a surgery. You have to leave all trust into the doctor and the nurses and the staff's hands. So to know and to believe that you're surrounded by people that you can trust makes the world difference. I've been to a lot of different hospitals throughout my life, and hospital special surgery was the best.
In Chris's case, as it is the most professional athlete's case, the surgery is one part of it, but just as important is the post-operative rehabilitation. After he had surgery, basically kind of changed the way he trained. I personally think he's a better athlete today than he was, even 2 or 3 years ago. And I think that he knows that whatever there's adversity, he'll overcome it. I think he's in a great place. I think he's going to do extremely well when he fights, and I'll be there rooting for him.
When you get to a point in your life and your career when you get injured and you can't do the things that you want to do, you just feel thankful to be healthy and more excited to be an athlete that's capable of reaching his potential. HSS prepared me physically and then also mentally because I knew I was with the best. It allowed me to stay positive and motivated to get to my next fight.